Indubitably. Hello there, I'm just absorbing the arts. Liberal arts, that is, because I'm a liberal and that makes me better than you. Nothing I love more than absorbing liberal arts and enjoying the splendors of life, such as fine wine. Oh, seems my cellular is Big Benning me! Who could this be?
What's up, Snowflake?
Hello, sir. I don't believe we've met.
It's me, your worst fucking nightmare, dude.
Hey,
Knock, dude.
Sorry, I don't quite understand what you're saying to me.
I said knock, dude.
Who's there?
You're drinking cat blood, brother. What I'm saying is, I straight up honor killed a stray cat, dude.
Oh, God!
Siphoned its freaking blood, dude.
You're a monster!
Then I broke into your house, dude.
No!
Opened up a bottle of wine.
My fine wine!
Then I put all that homeless kitty blood in there, dude.
Oh, God!
What I'm getting at is you're drinking homeless kitty blood, dude. And that makes you freaking stupid, dude. That makes you freaking stupid,
I
dude.
can taste it! I can taste the cat! What is that? Is that Maine Coon? You put Maine Coon kitty blood in my fine wine?
Get trolled, libdard.
But that's gonna be determined.
Alright. The alt-right have been trolling libtards the epic style since the dawn of time. However, much more recently, they've been taking to social media to really show the leftist plague what's up by using straws. This is all in reaction to a plastic straw ban here in California. I mean, the president's former campaign manager is going to prison, and his personal attorney just pled guilty to all the charges against him. But this is what they would rather focus on. The straws. Look at Alicia, she's got a cute little gif. Owning the libs with an extra thick straw. Guys, look how freaking
funny I am!
Hey, government! You can't take my AR-15, so what makes you think you can take my plastic straw? I don't need your permission, you're subordinate to me, and that's the world you're stuck living in! My plastic straws! Speaking of looking like a complete fool, this last Sunday marked the 1-year anniversary of the deadly Unite the Right Charlottesville rally in which a white nationalist struck and murdered a woman with his car. Now, while regular people, with like human emotions such as sympathy, gathered to mourn the loss of an innocent life and to promote peace and acceptance, none other than the Unite the Right organizer Jason Kessler thought, hey, you know what? Went so well last year, I think I'll do it again. However, this time, this little backwood hillbilly incest fest was hitting the road and heading straight for Daddy's house. Sadly for Jason Kessler, no matter how cool your lo-fi YouTube stream of a website looks, you can't just win every time. A whopping 30 people showed up to the event compared to the 400 they were expecting. However, there still was one large turnout, which was the roughly 1,000 counter-protesters who showed up to remind these fools that racism ain't cool. In other news relating to neo-Nazis with daddy issues and bad ideas, Donald Trump announced his plans to host a military parade in Washington, which he could pay for just a small loan of $92 million. I would love to go into the ridiculousness of that price tag even more, considering the fact that Trump continuously and unironically criticizes the world's most expensive witch hunt. Although Trump's one-day parade would cost almost 6 times the amount of the entire investigation's yearly spending. And then I'd also probably mention something like how as a country we've already spent $17 million for Trump to go golfing at Mar-a-Lago.
I love golf. I think it's one of the greats, but I don't have time.
You know there's gotta be a hefty fucking cleaning fee every single time he pisses on a Russian hooker where Obama used to sleep in the White House. Citation needed. Or instead of making a bunch of crude jokes, I could talk about shit that actually matters, Sort of like how Trump announced his plans to cancel the joint military exercises between the United States and South Korea because they were
tremendously expensive.
Yet the total cost of those exercises reaches $14 million, which is a fraction of the
$92 million
that this one-day parade would cost. We could also talk about how
$92 million
could feed every single homeless veteran in the United States 3 meals a day for 9 months straight. But I'm not gonna do any of that, so... Penis. Also, the Pentagon has actually already delayed the parade until at least 2019. And because it just keeps on getting better and better, the non-profit veterans organization Vote Vets announced their plans to host a 5K race on Veterans Day 2019, which is the day that Trump wanted to host his dumbass parade anyways. So what they said in return was, unless he kicks out a veterans race, Donald Trump will not get his ego parade there on that day next year either. Hashtag no Trump parade. That is what you call a epic style troll. Have fun drinking with your straws, you fucking nitwits. Whew, I'm getting worked up. I'm getting hot. Getting real hot. Here's what we're gonna do. You and I, we're gonna take a step back away from the day-to-day news. Instead, we're gonna focus on just one specific topic, you know? I don't have time to keep up with all this ridiculousness, and you know, you probably don't either, nor should you. So, today, you and I are gonna take an in-depth look into the most frightening face in the White House. No, not that one. Nope, not that one either. Oh, surprisingly still, no. There's a lot of spooky faces in the White House. Nope. The White House has a better expanded monster universe than Universal. That joke was like a year late. Ah, there we go. To understand the Huck, we first have to ask, what is the Huck? Where did she come from? Where did she go? Where did she come from? Can she please go back? Some would call Sarah Huckabee Sanders the White House press secretary to the most dishonest and narcissistic president in recent history. However, I would call her more of a combination between that freaky-ass gingerbread man from the Brothers Grimm and a halfway melted snowman who's doomed to sentience. Sarah Huckabee Sanders is the daughter of famous Republican and gent bassist Mike Huckabee. Now, you might remember Mike Huckabee from some of his famous works, such as blaming the Sandy Hook shooting on the lack of religion in school.
We've systematically removed God from our schools. Should we be so surprised that schools would become a place of carnage? Maybe we ought to let him in on the front end and we wouldn't have to call him to show up when it's all said and done and at the back end.
Comparing legalizing same-sex marriage to forcing Jewish people to serve bacon-wrapped shrimp, or completely just refusing to accept the science behind evolution and instead wishing that every American could be forced at gunpoint to listen to the Christian revisionist historian David Barton.
I almost wish that there would be like a simultaneous telecast and all Americans would be forced at gunpoint, no less, to listen to every David Barton message, and I think our country would be better for it. I wish it happened.
I could go on and on about Mike Huckabee, you know, that's a whole other video. Let's get back to the star of the show. Sarah Huckabee Sanders was born in Hope, Arkansas. She was the youngest child of Mike and Janet Huckabee and their only daughter. Mike Huckabee has previously praised Sarah, saying that she's doggone tough and fearless due to the fact that she grew up with two older brothers. And honestly, I gotta agree with him here, you know, due to the fact that her brothers seem to be fucking psychopaths.
Back in 1998, folks in Arkansas might know this story. One of Huckabee's sons faced allegations that he was involved in the hanging of a stray dog at a Boy Scout camp.
Do you not think that there's not an A-list actor out there that's never had to show some tit or suck a little dick to get a part? You know what I mean, sweet cheeks?
Sarah became involved with politics at a very young age, saying that whenever her father made his first Senate run, she would stuff envelopes, go door to door, and put up yard signs for his campaign. However, her father lost that race, and I would ask the question, is that why she decided to dedicate her life to politics? Because of her father she let down all those years ago. Another 10 years later, when Sarah was 20 years old, the daddy-daughter duo was back at it again. This time, Sarah was working for her father's re-election campaign as the governor of Arkansas. Another dose years later, and Sarah found herself in the big leagues working for former President George Bush's re-election campaign.
I know the human being and fish can coexist peacefully.
And then it clicked in Sarah's head. She said, hey, you know what, I'm pretty good at getting despicable people reelected for shit.
You can make a religion out of this.
Oh, nope, wrong video. You can make a business out of this. And so little Huckabee co-created Second Street Strategies, a consulting firm for Republican campaigns. And then in 2008, she's working with her father yet again, this time for his presidential campaign. He lost. She married Brian Sanders in 2010. He lost. And then in 2012, she worked for Tim Pawlenty's presidential campaign. I don't remember him either, but he lost. And then in 2016, she joined her father one last time for his second bid at the presidency, which he dropped out of. After Papa Huckabee dropped out of the 2016 presidential election, she joined Donald Trump's campaign, saying that, I volunteered to join Mr. Trump's campaign because he's a champion of working families, not Washington Wall Street elites. And then it happened. The people spoke and elected Hillary Clinton. But the Electoral College said, no you didn't, and then decided to go with the orange supremacist instead, solidifying a job for Sarah Huckabee Sanders as the Deputy White House Press Secretary. The Huck initially worked under Sean Spicer, although she would occasionally fill in for him whenever he was out getting like face enlargement surgeries or something.
The one thing that you can be sure of is to never underestimate this president.
Seems like brown-nosing Donald Trump so deep you're reaching prostate territory runs in the Huckabee family.
Let me tell you, Donald Trump would be a better president every day of the week and twice on Sunday rather than Hillary. I love Donald Trump. I'm wearing a Trump tie tonight. Get over that one, okay?
Anyways, Sean Spicer babbled on like a butt-fucking food for about a year straight before his departure, so it's really tough to cram everything together in one video that shows why he was adios muchachoed out of the White House. But here's a quick supercut of some of my favorite... Hey!
So are you retracting your claim on Saturday that it was the largest crowd in person?
That's not
for
what
an
I
inauguration?
said. This was the largest audience to ever witness an inauguration, period. Both in person and around the globe. That's not what I said. And then this one is I've got the 13 here as well, or the 2017. It is literally 100% the same. You've got Russia. If the president puts Russian salad dressing on his salad tonight, somehow that's a Russian connection. Yes, I believe that we have to be honest with the American people. I think sometimes we can disagree with the facts. Okay, you don't get to just yell out questions. We're going to raise our hand like big boys and girls. That is called a levee wall on the left. That is called a bollard wall. Someone as despicable as Hitler, who didn't even sink to using chemical weapons. He was not using the gas on his own people the same way that Assad is doing. I mean, there was clearly. I understand your point. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. There was not in the. He brought him into to the Holocaust Center. I understand that. But our intention is never to lie to you, Jonathan.
I miss him every day. But I know Sean's in a better place now, where he can have the biggest inauguration crowds that he wants. Period. So with Sean Spicer out of the picture, it was Sarah's time to shine. She was going to be harder, better, faster, stronger. She was going to run those motherfucking press conferences. So Sarah stepped up to home plate as the White House press secretary for the first time, just as giddy as can be. I mean, take a look at her face. Look how happy she looks. But within the first 2 minutes, Sarah quickly lost that glimmer in her eye and set the precedent for all of her following press conferences. She either answers a question that wasn't asked, or she just completely evades answering a question at all, saying, like, hey, shit, man, I don't want to answer that question. Russia? Nah, don't want to talk about it, but hey, check this out. I got a letter here from a little boy. His name's Pickle.
I'd like to read you a letter from 9-year-old Dylan. My name is Dylan Harbin, but everybody calls me Pickle. I'm 9 years old and you're my favorite president. I like you so much that I had a birthday about you. My cake was the shape of your hat.
Alright, let's get back to Sarah's first press conference. I just really wanted to fit in that pickle bit. So, in Sarah's first press conference, she's already deflected a couple of questions when this happens.
In his interview with the New York Times, he raised questions about Robert Mueller. Does he endorse his legal team's efforts to undermine Robert Mueller's credibility?
Again, the president has absolutely nothing to do with any of the allegations that are being made. I think he's maintained that, and he wants them to complete their process as quickly as possible so that we can move on from the ridiculousness of all things Russia and Russia fever.
Like I said, Sarah answered a question that wasn't asked, avoided the actual question, and then this time she managed to even throw in a fun little term, Russia fever. And she even does this little jig after she says it. She says, Russia fever, and then she's like, yeah, Sarah, you're the fucking best, and everybody knows it. So let's recap really quick. We, at this point, are at the 2-minute and 55-second mark of her first ever press conference as the White House press secretary. And how many questions has she deflected?
Can you clarify where the president stands on the issue of pardons? Is he considering pardons for figures in the Russia investigation? And does the president believe that he has the power to pardon himself?
Look, I'd refer you to the comments that have already been made by the outside counsel.
Power to pardon himself? Does he believe that he has the power to pardon himself?
Like I said, I don't have anything to add beyond what the outside counsel has already stated on that front.
So, but to the question that I asked, does he endorse his legal team's efforts to undermine the credibility of the special counsel?
I'm not aware of those details, and that's something you would have to ask. That's something you would have to ask his legal team. I'm not part of that process. So.
In under 3 minutes of her first ever press conference, she has shown that she has zero intention of doing her actual job. The very definition of the job of the White House press secretary reads, they act as a spokesperson for the United States government and the president, senior executives, and policies. That's not what Sarah does. She's essentially just become Donald Trump's personal damage control for all the stupid shit that he says or tweets. Yet somehow Sarah still manages to do that incorrect job incorrectly. And that brings us to what I like to call
The Huckabee paradox.
Step 1. Donald Trump says something outrageous, incorrect, or incredibly offensive, or a combination of all three. Step 2. Sarah Sanders will walk out to her podium and say, nope, didn't happen. Third, Trump will double down on whatever stupid shit he said, completely contradicting Sarah, but before we can even address that, he'll just move on and say some even crazier shit, completely restarting the entire cycle, which creates the Huckabee paradox.
So President Obama knew about Russia before the election. Why didn't he do something about it? Why didn't he tell our campaign? Because it's all a big hoax, that's why. And he thought Crooked Hillary was going to win.
So does he believe the interference was a big hoax, or does he have faith in the intelligence agencies that have concluded definitively the other way, that Russia did in fact?
As the president has said many times and stated over and over again, as have I, as a number of other administration officials, we maintain that Russia interfered in the elections.
In Helsinki, I had a great meeting with Putin. We discussed everything. I had a great meeting. Now we're being hindered by the Russian hoax. It's a hoax, okay?
You know, whenever I was initially writing this video, I had a couple of bits planned that I ended up not doing, but one of them involved her husband's Twitter page. I took a look at her husband's Twitter page, and this is what led me out of a couple of the bits I had planned. He has some photos of him, his wife Sarah Huckabee Sanders, and then their children. Surprisingly, they look like a completely normal, happy family. And I decided, you know what? Maybe Sarah Huckabee knows that all these things that she's defending are crazy, and she's just doing it for her career, you know? So, you know, even though I think it's wrong that she would defend somebody like Trump, it could be just all a career move and she doesn't mean any of it. But then, the day that I was writing this, I came across a video of Sarah on her father's talk show, Huckabee.
To be able to be on the front row to history and to actually get to play a part in it and to feel like you're impacting change and impacting it for the greater good is certainly something that outweighs some of the worst days and some of the bad hits and some of the attacks.
You see, she genuinely believes that she's making this country a better place. That made it click in my head that, no, she is a terrible human being. However, she does also say this in the interview.
Does it hurt your feelings sometimes when people say really nasty things?
Certainly there are moments that you would like to pretend like they didn't happen, but at the same time I also feel like those are the moments that make you a little bit stronger and put you in a better place for the next day.
Well, Sarah, let me do you a favor and make sure that you can have a great day tomorrow. This one's for you. Sarah, whenever you wear pearl necklaces like that, you look like a seal that got its neck caught in a soda can plastic ring. Boom! Sarah, I loved your work in Pirates of the Caribbean. Boom! Sarah, you work with Kellyanne Conway, yet somehow you're still the person in the White House who looks the least human. Boom! Sarah, your eyes could be a top hit on Pornhub with how fucked they are. Boom!
But that's going to be determined.
I do have one final joke for Sarah Huckabee Sanders that I wrote that has nothing to do with her looks. Sarah, your career has now been led into a point where best case scenario you'll be remembered as nothing more than the boring version of Donald Trump's Twitter page. However, hopefully more so than that, you'll be following the footsteps of your buddies who've all pled guilty to the charges brought against them, such as Michael Flynn, George Papadopoulos, Rick Gates, Michael Cohen, and as of today, Paul Manafort!